Hey cuties, what's up? We are back with some more reactions after dark, and we are of course going to be watching The Dark Side of YouTube, obviously by The Void. We're back at The Void again, this time for YouTube stuff. I feel like I would have ended up watching this stuff, but I think it's just that we stopped watching The Void pretty quickly. I think maybe when we got suggestion for watching Stephanie stuff, I think is what was happening. I was trying to find something to watch for Rad, and I think Stephanie got uh, suggested, and it probably was like a Void thing or some other video, and that's why we kind of like cut Void off. After a certain point, we haven't been watching it since, but figured we'd come back. I mean, he has a lot of stuff to go into, so I would like to finish up this stuff up. Tomorrow, maybe I'll try to do another Confessions, Stephanie Confessions. Uh, though I don't know if we're gonna have any time. There's a lot of stuff's gonna happen tomorrow, but hopefully we have better internet tomorrow, and then I can just instantly upload a video, so it won't really matter what time it is, or I could stream. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do, but anyways, we're just doing this today. This is just a quick one we can get through because I am kind of late again. No hater segment, no radical break, of course, too short. We're just going to get into it. I hope that I haven't seen any of these stories yet before, because when you're going back and watching this stuff, it's possible to have overlap from other channels who do the exact same thing. So it's like, if you're one of these people, do you just do the exact same story you know other people have done, or do you try to go out of your way to find stuff that no one else has done? But then when you do that, then other people might be like, okay, look, they found something, let's add this to our compilation. All of a sudden now everybody's done a video on this thing, and then you're kind of fighting for whose attention, I guess, to come to your channel. It's like, do you watch this person? Do you watch that person? Because there might be stuff you've already seen. If you start watching one person, all their content, they go watch someone else, as they go, wait, this is just all the stuff I've already seen, but just from the other person, so. Meh. Also, viewer discretion is advised, obviously. Strongly advised.
Did you know that every minute, over 500 hours of video content is uploaded to YouTube?
What is this at the beginning? Is it just him talking about YouTube? I think it's him just talking about YouTube.
While much of it is entertaining and educational, there's a shadowy side to this vast platform. Hidden deep within YouTube's algorithms lies a world of unsettling and controversial content waiting to be discovered. In this video, we delve into YouTube's darkest corners to uncover the most chilling and contentious content ever uploaded. From bizarre channels to downright disturbing footage hiding a hidden truth, join me as we navigate the creepy underbelly of the world's largest video sharing site.
I wasn't expecting that explosion to like pop off twice. I was like, oh, is this like just that weird, not weird, but that fireworks place going off? But no, it exploded again. I was like, okay, wait, what's going on?
Welcome to YouTube's darkest corners.
That's not what you named this series, Void. You named it The Dark Side of YouTube, not YouTube's Darkest Corners. Do you have contrasting titles? Hello. Maybe he didn't know what he was going to call it at that point. The home tapes.
YouTube is filled with countless family videos, capturing birthdays, holidays, and everyday moments that families want to share with the world. These videos usually bring smiles and warm feelings, showing us slices of ordinary, happy lives. But sometimes, a video surfaces that hides a sinister story beneath its cheerful facade. This video is one example, a seemingly typical family gathering, yet the reality is, it's anything but.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this before. I have no clue what this is gonna be about.
At first glance, it's just another family memory, with everyone enjoying their time together. But hidden within this footage is something truly horrific. To understand the true meaning behind the horror in this video, we need to explore the backgrounds of Carla Homolka and Paul Bernardo, an ordinary-looking couple who share a dark secret. Carla Homolka was born on May 4, 1970, in Port Credit, Ontario. She grew up in a typical middle-class family and was known for being intelligent, outgoing, and popular. But
Sure.
underneath her friendly facade, Carla had a disturbing fascination with cruelty, particularly...
Was she a psychopath? Secretly a psychopath? I mean, just look at her. She's given like this evil look. I mean, she looked like she came straight out of the 80s, for one, but...
towards animals.
Oh, animals. I mean,
Bernardo was
psychopaths
born
then.
on August 27th, 1964, in Scarborough, Ontario. His childhood was far from ideal, raised by an abusive father who was a known predator. Despite his troubled upbringing, Paul came across as a charming and well-mannered young man, excelling in school and enticing those around him with his looks and charisma.
I mean, psychopath, that's just standard psychopath behavior. They appear to be a normal person. That is, they appear to be the normalest of normalists of people, if not like excelling normal people.
However, beneath this, all was a man consumed by violent fantasies and a deep-seated rage. Carla and Paul's paths crossed in October 1987 at a pet convention in Scarborough. The connection was immediate and intense, quickly becoming an inseparable pair.
Yeah, two psychopaths meeting, never good.
They immediately clicked thanks to their shared dark fantasies.
How often does that happen, right? Two psychopaths get together and commit psychopathy together?
And a mutual desire for control and domination. As their relationship grew, so did their criminal activities. Together, they planned and executed a series of increasingly violent and horrific acts, assaulting at least 18 women and taking the lives of 3 between 1987 and 1992.
In 87, how old is she? 16? Question mark? She says she's born in... Was she born in 70? So she's... Yeah, she should be 20 when it's 80, right? Maybe? Yeah. So, I guess she's 17? Question mark? I was thinking maybe it would be 1 year behind. She's 16 to 17 in when they start doing this. Like, how are you that young doing that kind of stuff?
Carla's loyalty to Paul was unbreakable, even as his demands grew more extreme. This bond ultimately led to the tragic events of Christmas Eve in 1990.
Okay, so
In the
she's
months
20.
prior
Oh,
to that
30.
night, Paul and Carla's relationship grew.
No, 20. I don't know why I'm getting confused there. 80, she should be 10. 90, she should be 20, is what I was saying. If I said she was 20 at 88, that was a mistake. I mean, she's 20 in 90.
Increasingly toxic and dangerous. Paul's obsession with control and domination kept growing, and he demanded more extreme acts to satisfy his disgusting desires. Carla, who was deeply infatuated with Paul, found herself willing to go to any lengths to please him. This unhealthy relationship between the two led to the decision of their next victim being Carla's sister, Tammy Homolka. Tammy Homolka was a bright, cheerful 15-year-old who looked up to her older sister. She had no idea of the sinister intentions Carla and Paul were planning. In the weeks leading up to Christmas, Carla and Paul began to discuss their intentions in chilling detail. They saw Tammy as the perfect victim, someone they could easily manipulate and control. Their discussions weren't just theoretical, they carefully planned how they would drug and rape her.
What?
Carla, who worked at a veterinary clinic, had access to powerful sedatives. She stole halothane, a potent anesthetic used for animal surgeries.
Is that on purpose? I guess she stole that because... Also, is this sped up? Oh, this has been normal speed this entire time. Whoops. That should have been... I didn't even notice it wasn't sped up until right now. She has a fascination with cruelty to animals, correct? So, does the fact that she's working there have to do with it? You would assume so, that she's working there because she likes abusing animals. And is it also because of the drugs she has access to be used outside of the place? I feel like that is a tactical move on her part, to be working there.
With the intention of using it on Tammy. The couple's plan was to make Tammy unconscious, allowing Paul to fulfill his twisted fantasies without resistance. On December 23rd, 1990, Carla and Paul put their plan into motion. They invited Tammy to join them for a festive evening of drinking and celebrating the holidays. Tammy, trusting her sister and Paul, had no reason to suspect anything was wrong and fully joined in the festive celebrations. As the night progressed, Carla spiked Tammy's drinks with a sedative-laced cocktail. When Tammy became drowsy and disoriented, Paul and Carla took her to the basement, where they administered the halothane, rendering her unconscious. What happened next was nothing short of horrific. Paul and Carla assaulted Tammy while she lay unconscious, recording everything on video. However,
Wait, they have that on tape?
their plan went horribly wrong.
Wow. Did the family show up, or is Tammy still alive?
As the night went on, Tammy began to vomit and choke, and despite their attempts to revive her, she ultimately died of asphyxiation.
I mean, they were going to get rid of her anyways, right? Or no, they are not planning on doing that. Because it says it's her sister, so I guess maybe they didn't want to get rid of her. They just wanted to, you know, drug and assault her. And then just hope that somehow they get away with it and, like, not know what happens? Question mark? Like, how do you get away with that? Because are they beating her up too? Question mark? Because you feel like when she would wake up, you'd be like, why am I beat up?
In a desperate bid to cover their tracks, Carla and Paul dressed Tammy, cleaned the scene, and called emergency services, claiming she had accidentally choked on her vomit. The Homolka family was devastated by Tammy's sudden and tragic death, unaware of the true cause. In the days following Tammy Homolka's death, the Homolka family was overwhelmed with grief. They had lost a beloved daughter and sister under tragic circumstances. Carla and Paul's ability to put on a show of shock and sorrow was convincing enough to divert any immediate suspicions from themselves.
I mean, they are psychopaths, so they should be able to do that,
To the outside world, Tammy's death was a heartbreaking accident. The authorities initially accepted the story that Tammy had choked on her vomit after a night of drinking, closing the case without further investigation. Tammy was laid to rest, and the family tried to move on from the tragedy, unaware of the sinister truth. However, the pair didn't stop there.
Should they still get in trouble with the family? Question mark? Because if she was just over there at your place, question mark, and she was drinking and then died from drinking, I feel like everybody would still be mad at you because it's your fault, because you had a underage person drinking because she was, what, 15 or something? She was underage.
Paul and Carla's criminal activities continued, and their behavior grew increasingly erratic. Their insatiable desire for control and dominance led them to commit more awful acts, which ultimately caught the attention of law enforcement. The investigation into Tammy's death was reopened, and this time authorities inspected every detail. Forensic experts re-examined the evidence, and discrepancies in the initial cause of death became apparent. The video recordings of Tammy's assault, which Paul and Carla had arrogantly kept, were discovered during a search of their home. These tapes provided irrefutable proof of their involvement in Tammy's death and other crimes. 3 weeks after Tammy's death, Carla and Paul had also filmed a video titled The Fireside Chat inside the Homolka home. This video, which later surfaced as court evidence, began in the basement recreation room before moving to Tammy's bedroom. During the recording, Carla shockingly admitted to Paul that she enjoyed Tammy's, and in a disturbing twist, Carla dressed in Tammy's clothes and acted like her sister while they had sex on Tammy's bed. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Carla struck a deal with prosecutors in exchange for a reduced sentence. She testified against Paul, painting herself as a victim of his manipulation and control. This deal.
And they just let that slide despite literally seeing a video where she admitted to enjoying all of this. And they're just like, yeah, let's just... We know you are lying, but just pretend that you're not lying. Or, yeah. And we'll cut you a deal. Like, what?
Deal with the devil, as it came to be known, sparked outrage and controversy, but guaranteed Paul's conviction. This is where we return to the innocent-looking home video of Tammy, taken on the night she was attacked, which is available to see on YouTube. Tammy is seen in the first few seconds of the clip, enjoying a drink, and enjoying Paul and Carla's company, completely unaware of the plan her sister and Paul had in store for her. Everyone seems to be enjoying themselves, celebrating the Christmas festivities and having a good time.
It's kind of coincidental that this first video has to do in, like, Christmas, December, and whatnot, when we are watching this in December.
Little did anyone know what Carla and Paul had planned for Tammy later that night. Knowing the truth of the events that would unfold makes this video incredibly difficult to watch. The story of Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka really shows how darkness can hide behind seemingly ordinary moments. Their ability to portray themselves as innocent and considerate allowed them to commit such horrific acts for so long, even deceiving those closest to them, showing that true evil can often wear a friendly face. Paul Bernardo was sentenced to life imprisonment, without any possibility of parole, for
Okay, not death. Didn't they, like, commit a lot of crimes and murders?
His sick and twisted crimes committed to innocent young women. Karla Homolka, on the other hand, served only 12 years in prison before being released. Following her release from prison in 2005, she moved to Quebec, where she did in fact get married once again.
What?
She reportedly now lives with her husband and 3 children, under the name Leanne Teal, a surname Bernardo had taken from the serial killer in the 1988 film Criminal Law, now
Hello?
adopted by Leanne.
Hello? You let this woman out. She has 3 kids. She's clearly a psychopath. Those kids might... we don't know if psychopathy is hereditary. It probably isn't, right? But what if it is? Then we have 3 more psychopaths. And she literally is using a name of a psychopath serial killer? Did you say from a movie? Like, hello? Police? Law enforcement? Hello? Tianjin? I don't know what this is. I've never heard of this story before. I probably haven't heard of this one either. So at least there's that, because I had that entire like overlap conversation at the beginning of this. Yeah, it's unfortunate that this happened. Again, I don't know how many people they got to, but as they said, the deal with the devil. Like, how could you just make her fake being an accomplice to what had happened? And then it was like, yeah, you can just go. Also, she only served 12. That means she was 32 when she got out. So she was still young, question mark, when she got out. And then had kids and then whatnot. Does her new husband even know that she's a psychopath? He probably is another psychopath himself. And then we just have too many psychopaths getting together, possibly having psychopath kids. So she was, what, 30s? I mean, we already know how old she is. She is 30 in 2000, right? So if that's the case, she's 55 now, question mark.
The Tianjin explosion is one of those events that's hard to forget. It happened on August 12, 2015, and shook not
This must be that big explosion we saw earlier.
just the city of Tianjin, but the entire world. Imagine this: a quiet night suddenly interrupted by a massive explosion, so powerful that it was seen from space. That night, a series of explosions occurred at a chemical warehouse in the port area of Tianjin, China. The first explosion hit at around 11:30 p.m. Just 30 seconds later, a second, much larger explosion followed. This second blast was the equivalent of 21 tons of TNT, creating a fireball that lit up the night sky and caused shockwaves that were felt miles away. The destruction was immense. Buildings were flattened, cars were tossed around like toys, and windows shattered in every direction.
I assume if you saw that in person, you would think you were being like attacked, like a war was happening or something.
Witnesses described the scene as something out of a disaster movie, with flames reaching hundreds of meters into the sky and debris raining down like fiery hail. So what caused this catastrophe? Dry nitrocellulose. The container overheated, causing a spontaneous ignition. This fire reached another hazardous substance stored in the warehouse, ammonium nitrate fertilizer, which caused the initial explosion. Following this, with so many more dangerous chemicals and substances around, another explosion would soon follow. Investigations revealed that the facility was storing dangerous chemicals far beyond the permitted quantities, and many of these substances were housed in close proximity to each other, creating a ticking time bomb. The chemicals were kept far too close to each other and to residential areas, which turned the warehouse into a disaster waiting to happen. The aftermath was chaotic and tragic. Firefighters and emergency responders rushed to the scene to battle the flames and save lives, but many of them became victims themselves due to additional explosions. In total...
What is this shot that we were just watching? A guy in just casual clothing trying to put out a fire. Like, why are these firefighters not in gear? Oh, we can't afford them any gear? Hello?
173 people lost their lives, including 104 brave firefighters. It was one of the deadliest days for emergency responders in recent history. The stories of the firefighters who ran towards the danger, knowing the risks, are a testament to their bravery and dedication. These men and women were hailed as heroes, and their sacrifice is remembered to this day. But the human cost didn't stop there. More than 800 people were injured, and thousands were displaced from their homes. The environmental impact was severe as well, with toxic...
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be just more than just the fires getting people? If these toxins, I'm assuming burning them would be toxic, and that's people just being nearby and breathing it in would be taking damage. The environment, as just said, would be destroyed too. There's toxins in the dirt, destroying everything. Who knows what that's going to leak into? Could leak into the aquifer? Question mark. Taint the water, poison the well, yada yada yada.
Toxic chemicals contaminating the air, water, and soil.
Yep.
Residents reported respiratory issues, skin irritations, and other health problems long after the explosion. The psychological impact on the survivors and the families of the victims was profound, with many struggling to cope with the trauma and loss. Footage of the incident is just incredibly shocking too, showing just how close residents were to the chemical warehouse. One video in particular shows the first explosion, with the resident being too close to the warehouse. And based on the video, we can only assume he, and many others, perished from the explosion.
Is this that video? Because you said this is what we saw earlier, the explosion, and then you can see a bigger explosion, and then the walls crumbling in the shot. You could, I think, like this stuff up front gets blown out. See there.
The way the video cuts off leaves one speechless, to be honest. In one moment, he and hundreds of other people lost their homes, families, and lives. The immediate silence is haunting, to say the least. In response to this disaster, the Chinese government launched a massive cleanup and investigation. Several company executives and government officials were arrested for negligence and corruption. The cleanup operation was extensive, involving thousands of workers and taking months to complete. Continuous monitoring of soil and water was necessary to ensure that the levels of toxic substances were brought down to safe levels. The government also implemented stricter regulations and safety protocols to prevent such disasters in the future. The Tianjin explosion became a catalyst for change, prompting a nationwide reassessment of industrial safety standards. All in all, the Tianjin explosion is a horrifying event which has left a lasting legacy on the survivors. It must be difficult to attempt to return to a normal life once again, with their homes, friends, and family members having been taken away from them. Their homes are now one big graveyard, reminding them of what once was, before such an awful tragedy struck.
Already through that story, but yeah, I don't know if you've seen this one or heard about this one before. Like maybe, but I don't actually know. It's just another unfortunate thing that happened in history, right? I think that's 2015, like 10 years ago. Top of the Pops. No clue what this is. Top of the Pops.
I wanted to conclude this video on a controversial individual whose name might
What? Hello? What are you talking about?
not be too familiar for any viewer outside of the UK. Top of the Pops was one of the most iconic music shows in British television history.
Okay, yeah, I have not heard of it.
It brought the latest and greatest hits into homes across the UK every week, making it a staple of British pop culture. At the
So MTV slash that other channel. So it's basically just MTV.
center of this show was Jimmy Savile, an over-the-top and charismatic host known for his eccentric style and larger-than-life personality. For many viewers, Savile was synonymous with the show, a trusted figure who brought joy and entertainment to millions. But beneath the surface, there was a darker side to this celebrated TV star that would eventually come to light. Jimmy Savile was more than just a TV host, he was a cultural icon.
He's so old now, so clearly if he did something bad, nobody cared.
Rising to fame in the 1960s, Savile's career covered radio, television, and charity work. He was known for his unique look, complete with flashy tracksuits and oversized jewelry, and his catchphrases that many fans loved. Savile's rise to fame began with his work as a DJ in the dance halls of post-war Britain, where his larger-than-life personality and love for music made him a standout figure. By the 1960s, he had transitioned to radio, becoming a beloved voice on the airwaves. His unique style and ability to connect with listeners made him a household name. When he joined Top of the Pops, he brought that same energy and charisma to the television screen, quickly becoming one of the show's most popular hosts. In addition to his media work, Savile was heavily involved in charity, often seen running marathons or organising events to raise funds for hospitals and children's homes. His efforts earned him numerous awards and even a knightship from the late Queen Elizabeth II, further cementing his status as a national treasure. But while the public saw a man dedicated to good causes, those
I was gonna say, like, where's the evil come in?
who worked closely with him began to notice troubling behaviour. Stories of inappropriate comments and actions started to circulate, but in an era where celebrities were often given a blind eye, these warnings were simply dismissed. His access to vulnerable individuals through his charity work and media presence provided opportunities for exploitation that went unnoticed or ignored. Despite growing unease among some colleagues, Savile's star continued to rise. His predatory behaviour was protected by his fame, and the fear from organisations to challenge a figure so publicly loved for his good deeds. On a seemingly typical evening in 1976, Top of the Pops was filming at the BBC's West London TV Centre. The studio was alive with excitement as fans gathered to see their favourite artists perform. As Jimmy concluded the evening's performance, he was surrounded by many young women, one of whom was Sylvia Edwards. Without warning, his hands began to wander inappropriately, a moment captured on live television. Sylvia's reaction was immediate and shocking. She jumped and shrieked in shock. But what makes it worse is that he just kept going.
Yeah, it kind of looked like that's what was happening there, because she kept squirming afterwards.
his behavior wasn't subtle or accidental. It was almost an act of dominance performed right in front of an oblivious audience. As his hand roamed, the young woman can be seen reacting, her shock and discomfort evident to anyone who was paying attention. But in the chaos of the live show, her distress went unnoticed or ignored by those who should have intervened. The incident, though brief, left a lasting impact on the victim. She later recounted how she felt a mix of shame and helplessness, saying, "He just laughed and carried on mauling me while talking to the camera. I felt so embarrassed and ashamed because it was on live TV and all my friends and family were watching."
If they even know what's going on, but I'm guessing she's gonna go home and tell them what happened. Like, why did you jump here? Because obviously her friends and family would be looking at her in the show and be like, "Hey, what happened there?"
The response to the young woman's complaint was a window into a much larger problem. When she reported what had happened, she expected someone to take it seriously. Instead, she was told to get lost, and that Savile was just messing about. This dismissive reaction wasn't just one incident. Within the BBC, there were attempts to keep everything quiet, and the victims silenced. Savile wasn't just a popular host, he was a valuable asset who brought in viewers and revenue. Admitting to his behavior would have risked scandal and financial loss, something the BBC was desperate to avoid. This attitude created an environment where predators could thrive, knowing their actions would likely be ignored or covered up.
Have they gotten in trouble for this?
Employees were often discouraged from
Like not him, but the company.
speaking out, and those who did were dismissed or silenced.
So the British Broadcasting Channel? Is that what they call it? I always never know what these abbreviations are. You would think they would have gotten in trouble and this might have hurt them really badly eventually, but you'd argue they're still the biggest channel, right? In Britain? Question mark. So despite these evil things happening, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's just humanity, story of humanity in general, right? Bad things go unpunished? Question mark. Or bad things go unpunished. End of story. Period.
This silence wasn't just within the BBC, but extended to other areas of Savile's influence. He had connections in the media, entertainment, and even law enforcement, which meant that complaints rarely went anywhere. The power and influence he held created significant obstacles for anyone trying to expose his behavior. It wasn't until in late 2012, a year after Savile's death, that victims began to speak out about his abuse.
What year? 2012?
It wasn't until in late 2012, a year after Savile's death, that victims began to speak out about his abuse. Operation U-Tree, the Metropolitan Police's criminal investigation, claimed that throughout his time at the BBC, Savile is thought to have abused as many as 1,000 people, the youngest of which was just 5 years old.
How do you... I mean, I guess if you're working there, for so many years, 1,000 people is not that crazy. Especially if you're doing it every day, that's 300 plus people a year. So it would only take 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years to get to that many people. So you could do that in a decade or so. I don't know how long he was there, but decade, 2 easily. When it only takes technically 4 years to do something like that.
His crimes
or less if you're doing it to multiple people per day.
Varied from sexual comments to assaulting children he met in hospital wards, even supposedly engaging in...
What? You can't just throw that out of nowhere. It seems like he was just harassing people, it seemed, but now we're saying he was really assaulting people. We got philia in there. We got necrophilia in there. We're not allowed to say necrophilia? Question mark? Because did he censor that word?
Comments to assaulting children he met in hospital wards, even supposedly engaging in...
Okay, well, that word was censored. Okay, whatever. I get in trouble for saying it. Whatever, YouTube. It's so tiring dealing with YouTube's word play nonsense.
A 2014 inquiry into 28 NHS trusts revealed that 9 patients and 19 members of staff had reported his abuse over the years, but nothing ever came of them.
Yeah, what? How did this guy just allowed to get away with everything under the book? And then just die? No consequences.
A 2014 BBC inquiry into the abuse, conducted by Dame Janet Smith, revealed that people within the BBC had heard about his behaviour, but did nothing. Peter Saunders, Chief Executive of the National Association for People Abused in Childhood, stated, "The other thing I have found extraordinary, and very sad, is the number of people I have spoken to connected to the BBC, and that is a lot of people who said, 'Oh, yes, we all knew about him.'"
Again, how is this channel still going? It's oh yeah, we're the biggest channel, we let this guy run wild. Doesn't matter, we're the biggest, so we get to do whatever we want.
Looking back at the video now is just heartbreaking. Jimmy Savile attacks a young, innocent woman on live television, and no one dared to stop him. He knew his status and authority would protect him, even if his disgusting actions were performed right in front of everyone. And this video is just one example of him acting inappropriately in front of children, yet nothing was ever done. Seeing this moment shows how such behavior was ignored and even covered up for so long. It's clear to see the abuse that was once swept under the rug. No one should ever feel powerless to speak up, and every complaint should be taken seriously and not dismissed to protect the reputation of powerful individuals. It creates a breeding ground for predators like Savile at the expense of innocent and powerless people.
Oh, that is that for today. Again, have not heard of any of these, so good on the Void. But I assume this one's like really, like, a lot of people know about Tianjin, but I've never heard of this explosion as far as I know before. And again, just I feel like it's just like it's how things were back in the day, right? Just no one really cared about this kind of stuff. So that's how you can get away with it for so long. Why is there? I'm not even gonna question why there's a huge watch increase here. Yeah, people are just allowed to get away with that, but it seems like this was like recent enough. Like, 2012 was when they were like, hey, this guy was kind of bad, and y'all let it happen. But I guess that's still over a decade ago that they were like, hey, the British broadcasting channel is kind of screwed, right? So I guess again, if they got any flack for that, nobody would care anymore. It's been like what 13 years. Like nobody cares now, I guess. Again, I had not seen this before. And that video of the close-up is crazy. You can only hope that the person is alive, but I don't know about that. And this one is what the title is about, right? I probably put like, what happens when two psychopaths fall in love or something. Whatever I can fit into the title that has to do with that. Again, how is this woman out of jail at 32? Well, how is she let out of jail at 32 and then allowed to have 3 children and another husband and call herself a serial killer's name? Question mark? Like, how did she allowed to change her name to a serial killer name? What? Even if it's a fake serial killer? Have y'all not seen the writing on the wall? Like, what's going on here? Again, like, psychopathy is most likely not hereditary, but does it mean they might not be treated in a way that makes them go crazy? Question mark. Whatever, maybe, was it 12 years in jail? Changed her, but again, her name is literally a serial killer / psychopath from a movie? Question mark. Unless was hearing that different or wrong. So I don't know if you learned anything. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Depends on how things go with the new internet tomorrow. Because we have to go do that. That could take up, apparently, allegedly, up to 4 hours. And, got up to 4 hours. I'm just realizing, up to 4 hours, if they get here late, means Rad will not go up at the right time. Because it'll be 8. So yeah, again, depending on what happens tomorrow, we might not even. We'll try to get a rat out, even if I have to live stream it. But yeah, but then I had to like call the other internet and cancel that, so I have to do that too, which is like oof. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today. Don't have anything else to say. I keep forgetting to throw the throne up on the screen there. Well, at the beginning, I want to talk about it at the beginning, but at the end, I always am going to remember. Anyways, though, we can end now. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers or think about becoming a member or subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because we're working on watch time and subscribers. And don't forget, we have a throne now as well, which is on the screen. And shout out to the members, EmmyStarr, RaleyDrew, and alexgkiller 880. But yeah, I am trying to get a new PC. That's probably going to take all year. I mean, it could take another decade if we're gonna be honest, but that's fine. Again, gonna try to acquire this by the end of next year, no matter what it takes. Question mark? I mean, saying no matter what it takes is like that's a overstatement. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But we'll try to get this and get a new computer by December 2026. I think we can maybe try to do that. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Tune into the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. You know the do. See ya.